Hey everyone, today we're going to get into Gamma World 3E or Gamma World 3rd Edition, whichever one floats your boat there, tomato, tomato. This is a classic post-apocalyptic tabletop RPG. Now, if this is your first time coming to the channel and you have no idea what I'm talking about, first, I want to welcome you here to RPG Elite. This, folks, is a place where we put the RP back into RPG. And we do this by giving you tools and tips and tutorials. We do these deep dives into these classic tabletop RPGs. And we also give you real talk on the things that are happening in the tabletop RPG space and culture. And we also have that RPG Elite philosophy thing that we do. Man, we do more than what I thought. And this is where we are right now. Welcome to the channel. Leets, what's up? It's always good to see y'all. Always good. Thank you so much. For those of you who have become Leets this past week, I want to welcome you to the channel. Today, what we are going to get into is that classic 3rd edition combat. But before we do that, I have to answer a question that I've been asked and never really answered. So I've been asked a question that out of all of the Gamma World editions, which one is my favorite? Now before, when I was asked this question, I never gave a straight answer. I was kind of, trying to think about it, but I actually sat down and thought about it. And, we've been doing this series, what now? 9 months? And so in that time, I've gotten a wee bit knowledge about all the different versions of Gamma World. And I also have 5 and 6. And now the 5th edition you may have missed because that was in the middle of our alternity, which is weird. It's just weird how they came out with that. Not quite sure why that was the case. And 7th edition, okay, 7th edition isn't even on my radar. It's less than 0 in terms of importance. I have absolutely no interest in that edition of the game. So that's not even included. It wouldn't even be included if I was doing new tabletop RPGs. So then there's that. So out of the 6 editions that I have, I had to sit down and go, okay, which one really? And after going through all of this for like 9 months, it is very clear to me, because I've been looking at the other editions as well, it's clear to me, believe it or not, Gamma World 3rd edition is my favorite edition. It's an unequivocal decision. Now, of course, that's subjective, but I'm just answering the question definitively now. Gamma World 3rd edition. Now, let me forewarn you that Gamma World 3rd edition is not for everyone in terms of you just going out and getting it, because I've made a whole video explaining the problems with Gamma World 3rd edition. But despite those problems, it's undeniable for me that is my favorite edition of Gamma World. Now, some of you, your mileage is going to vary. You might like 1st edition, you might like 2nd, you might like 3rd, or you might like 4th, other than 3rd. That might be your edition, okay? And that's fine, there's nothing wrong with being wrong. But for me, it's 3rd edition, all day, every day. And speaking of 3rd edition, that's where we're at, baby, with combat. Now, in reference to combat, it just blows all the rest of them out of the water in terms of combat. It is much more robust, especially over 1st and 2nd edition. Oh, it's better. It's just better, period. I've got a little announcement when it comes to the one-shot that we're going to be doing to cap this series. And that'll be on the other side, so make sure you stay until the end of the video so you can find out how we getting ready to do this. But let's get into it right now. Gamma World 3rd edition combat part 1. Third edition Gamma World has some similarities with the basic combat mechanics in 2nd edition. However, much has changed with a substantial expansion of the combat options available to the players. Because of the introduction of the ACT or action table, it is highly suggested you go and watch my video on the Gamma World 3rd edition ACT. It really is. Now, normally I wouldn't tell you to stop a video and go back and watch another in the middle of it, but you'll be better served if you did in this case. So I've placed a link card right here, and you can come back when you're done. If you are familiar with Gamma World 3rd Edition, however, or you've already watched that video, then you're ready to move on with the differences. Now, again, I'm not going to be going over every nuance and detail of combat. I'm going to go over just the basics of the combat round. As always, I like to keep things on a purist level when doing these deep dives, so there will be no homebrew or optional rules. That will be for a separate video. Now, however, I am going to give a couple of tips to GMs and players throughout this video. There are a few terms I'll use in this video that will be important to understand as we go through the details of the combat round. First is initiative party. Now, when I'm talking about the initiative party, this is a party that won initiative even if they chose to wait, or even if they chose to give first crack to the other side. Now, the defending party is the party who lost initiative, though they may have been allowed to go first, but they actually didn't win initiative. And then there's the combat phase. One of the sections that we're going to go through, as you'll see it up on the screen, highlighted, that is called a combat phase. So now that we've got those little terms out of the way, let's get into the different phases of the combat round. If surprise is possible at the onset, the GM will assign a difficulty factor based on the level of concealment of the surprising party. Checking for surprise is now an intelligence check. The dexterity modifier is added to the roll. Remember, adding a modifier adds a column to the ACT, so a PC with an intelligence of 11 and a dexterity of 15 would roll on column 12 of the ACT for their surprise checks, since a dexterity of 15 gives them a modifier of +1. In all likelihood, PCs will be in a group. In that case, the PC with the highest dexterity will make the intelligence check for the group, adding their dexterity modifier to the intelligence check for surprise. If the intelligence check is the same color of the assigned difficulty factor or higher, then the party is not surprised. If it is lower, they have failed and can do nothing for the round, so they just got to take their lumps. If it is black, they are not only surprised, but confused, and the effects of surprise last for an entire 2 rounds. Alright, so here we are once again with our intrepid heroes from the 1st and 2nd edition combat videos. We have Mirabaldo Kintok and the infamous Zealand Malok. However, we also have a 3rd companion to add to the mix. It's Oki. Now, the last time you guys saw Oki was in the Gamma World 3rd Edition character creation video. So for those of you who haven't seen that video, go and check it out after this video. The link will be in the description below. Today, our brave PCs are on a new adventure, so let me give you the setup here. Mirabaldo and Zealand have just joined a settlement named New Haven. It's a medium-sized settlement that has been established for a little while now, and looking to contribute to their new village, the two of them have volunteered to go on an exploration mission to find artifacts of the ancients and a newly discovered crash site about 10 miles outside of New Haven to the west. They figured it would be a perfect opportunity to prove themselves to their fellow settlers and maybe find some things that they could keep for themselves. Now, truth be told, that's more Mirabaldo's motivation. Zealand is interested in finding historical records of the ancients to quench his curiosity. So the only other settler who volunteered to go with them was the hulking oak tree. So the 3 of them traveled 10 hours before reaching the site late afternoon, early evening, and excited that they had found the place, they want to do a general search of the area before they lose sunlight. They approach the site, keeping an eye out for any unwelcome visitors. However, little do they know that 2 parns, these are sword beetles, one here and one here, are scavenging the site. And the monstrous 9-foot beetles spotted them coming towards the crash, so they've decided to try and ambush the PCs from atop the wreckage so they can feed on them. Specifically, Mirabaldo and Zealand, because Oki, they're not too interested in him. So the Parns are going to attempt to be very still so they're not spotted. And they're going to try to launch a spine attack if they succeed at this surprise attack. So the first thing we need to do here in checking for surprise and see who has the highest dexterity. So if we click on Mirabaldo here, he has a dexterity of 11. Zealand has a dexterity of 11. And Oki has a whopping dexterity of 8. So it looks like it's going to come down to Mirabaldo and Zealand. However, they're going to defer to Zealand. Now, why? Because Zealand has heightened hearing. And he can hear within 11 meters or 36 feet, a little over 36 feet from his position in an area of effect. But what he's going to try to do first, which is something he can do with his heightened hearing. Let me pull this up. He possesses superior hearing, and by concentrating, he can improve his range by 1 factor per result factor of a mutation roll. So what that means is that for every color that he gets, and let's go ahead and pull up the ACT here. Okay, so for every color result he gets, he's going to increase this by another 11 meters. Very cool. So first, let's go ahead and let's do that. Now he's going to be rolling on the 11 column. So I'm just going to go over to the tables and click on 11 here, and we're going to see first if he can increase his range out past 36 feet. Whoa, swing and a miss. So no, that's not going to be the case. So he's just going to make his intelligence roll in the area of 36 feet. And these Parns are well within the area. They're well within 36 feet. So that's not going to be an issue. But he doesn't know that they're there. They're trying to be very still. Now, as a GM, I'm going to have to set a difficulty factor. And this difficulty factor is going to be a blue result. And the reason why it's blue is because they're right there. All these guys have to do is look up. They'll see them. So if Zealand gets a blue result on his intelligence roll, he will have seen the Parns and alert his other companions. So let's go back over to the tables. He has a 12, and we're going to click that open. And so it looks like we're going to need a 47 or higher. Let's see what he gets. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Oh, my gosh. This is horrible. So it appears as if it's another swing and a miss. And so they are going to be surprised. To make a surprise a real surprise for the players, before your session starts, have the PCs make a certain number of surprise intelligence rolls. You can have a bank of rolls for if they're solo and if they're with the group. Then, during the session, instead of asking them to roll for surprise, which obviously is going to alert them that something is about to happen, do it secretly with pre-rolls that they've already made. You can choose the roll and check it off, or you can randomly roll for one which applies. That way, you are using their rolls, and you can just let the narrative flow without alerting them to the fact until it happens. Gameplay is much smoother when you do it like that. I want to give a shout out to Seth Sorkowski for that tip. Got that one a years ago. Good tip right there. Of course, yeah, I've put my own little spin on it, but the foundation is his, so you can check out his channel in the description below. Okay, so now that we know that our heroes will be surprised, it's time for the Parns to make their attack. So the first thing that we need to figure out is what column on the ACT the Parns are going to attack under. And to do that, we need to find their hit dice. So if I double click on the Parn here and I'm looking at their listing, looks like their hit dice is 13. So we're going to roll on column 13. And they're going to do the spines attack, and they get 2 spines attacks. So if we go over here to our journal and we pull up this combat modifiers table, we need to see now whether there's any other modifiers that the Parns will get. And we know that there is, because if the attacker has a better position, which they do because they have the higher ground, they are above the PCs, you're going to get a +2. So instead of rolling under column 13, they're going to roll under column 15. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull up column 15 here, and this Parn number 1, let me scoot this over a little bit. This Parn number 1 is going to make 2 attacks, 2 spines, throwing it at Zealand right here. So let's see what happens. Green result for the first spine, and the second one, blue result. Okay, so when it comes to armor in 3rd edition, does not work like armor in 1st and 2nd edition. Thank the Lord for that, because I don't like how that worked. So let's go ahead and let's look at the combat modifiers, because the armor is on this table. And we're going to look at some things here. So Zealand has on heavy clothes and furs. So that means he has an armor class of 1, which reduces 5 points of damage. So how it works in Gamma World 3rd edition is that whatever your armor class is, you have to multiply that times 5 to get the amount of damage that it will reduce in total to all attacks, not per attack, but total attacks that they receive in that round. So in this case, Zealand was hit twice, but he was hit for 15 points of damage. Now, how is he hit for 15 points of damage? Let me go over here to the ACT multiplier table. So for these Parns, let me pull this up. You're going to see here that in parentheses here is a number, and this is the base damage. So this is, if they roll a blue, they're going to do 5 points of damage. However, if they roll a green, they will do 10 points of damage because of the multiplier times 2. Yellow would be times 3, 15 points. Orange times 4, 20. And red times 5, 25. Now, if we go back to the results here, we see that it got 5 points here on the blue result, another 10 points on the green results. So a total of 15 points. And if we subtract Zealand's armor class of 1, we see that Zealand just took a whopping 10 points of damage from those spines. Ouch. Ouch. Now we're going to go over to the second Parn over here. He's going to have the same exact thing. So let's go and open up column 15 and roll for the first spine attack. Ooh, oh, man, a yellow result. And let's roll for the second spine attack. Oh my gosh. Oh man, life is rough. Let's go back to that multiplier table so we can check it again. So as you can see here, we got an orange result and we got a yellow result. So the yellow result is going to do 15 points of damage, and the orange result is going to do 20 points of damage. That's a total of 35 points of damage. Ouch. Let's look at Mirabaldo's armor. Mirabaldo has leather armor, which is an armor class of 2. So out of the 35 points of damage, 10 points is taken off,
which means that Mirabaldo, unfortunately, still takes 20 points or 25 points of damage. I hate to do it. Oh my goodness, I hate to do it. Oh, not good. That Parn got in a good hit on Mirabaldo. And that would end the surprise attack.
I don't know why. I just like Oki. Just do. Don't know why. Probably, yes I do. I do know why. It's because that whoever has that character, and these are the characters that are going to show up in the one shot. Whoever has that character has some very challenging RP. And I like stuff like that. I also like Mirabaldo. Mirabaldo's character that I've been playing is the one that I actually created in first edition, and he has grown on me. He's just grown on me. So I like those too. But Oki just, it has an interest for me. If I was a player, that would be the one that I would want to play. But you see, I'm RPG Elite, and y'all who are RPG Elite, y'all know what I'm talking about. Now, I said that I had a small announcement when it comes to the one shot that we're going to do to cap off this series. And I wanted to set expectations because I don't want you to have an expectation and come in and be like, what's this? So I know what you guys are used to when it comes to online gameplay, right? You're used to the people sitting around the table, the camera being on them and you watching them play. Or you're used to, you know, there's like 5 or 6 boxes around and the camera is on them and you watching them play or listening to them play. All right, don't expect that here for that one shot. The reason why is that I've said this before and I'm going to have to repeat this, but I am coming out with this channel mostly as an educational channel to teach people how to play tabletop RPGs. So that being the case, that's the focus. Now, for it to be entertaining and everything, yeah, we're going to have a little bit of that as well. However, the main focus is to teach people the mechanics, see these things in action. So it's not going to be like that. So I'm setting your expectations right now. And as I work out the logistics on how it's going to be specifically, I can let you know for sure you're not going to be seeing us sitting around a table. And you're not going to be seeing all of our faces around on the screen. That is not what you are going to see. So get ready for something a little different than what you are used to. And I think you guys already are set for that because you come to this channel, which actually really doesn't do a lot of things that a lot of other tabletop RPG channels do. So it's just the way we are, but it's not just to be different. There's a reason and a purpose behind it. So again, I just wanted to set your expectations on that. All right, that's it for me. I got to get out of here. It's the weekend. This is my free weekend, so I don't have any tabletop RPG sessions, but you might have a tabletop RPG session. And if you do, hey, happy gaming, y'all. I hope it is a dope tabletop RPG elite session. But until next Tuesday, God willing, you know what a brother got to do. A brother has got to...
So exit. Stage left.
Peace. 5,000 leets. Outie.